Well, should we go ahead and get started? I know I keep thinking, oh, we should have a little word of prayer, and that we haven't done that before. But I'm just wondering, Emanuela, could I ask you to give us a quick word of prayer? Would that be
Sure.
all right? Okay.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to have this opportunity to get together to ask questions and get answers to the many things that we have on our minds. We are grateful for the love that God has for us and for our ancestors. We pray that they might bless us in the work that we do, that it may be valid. And we pray for these things and bless us again for thy spirit to be with us at this time. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Um, I didn't receive any emails or text messages of any questions, but I wanted to start out by saying, did any of you have any questions that, or heard any questions or that about anything?
Um, Marilyn, my
Yeah.
questions pretty much all relate to the topic of today's discussion, so I'll hold them until. Is it you that's making the presentation on the ancestry research connectivity possibilities?
Yeah, we can do
I
that.
will withhold. I'm really interested in that subject, so I'm
Oh, good.
a lot of questions, but I don't. But I'm going to,
Okay.
of course, until you've made your presentation. But I
And
don't have
it,
questions on any other topics.
right. And if you need to share your screen, it'll make it so much more interesting to see what your questions are and your concerns. Because I know that's the thing about questions is that we find out, oh, I had that question too. And I have that concern too. And so that's the reason questions are so important. So the video that was at BYU, let's see, here, I'll just go into this really quickly and share the video. Okay, and try to make that full screen. I'm going to move this over here. Let's see. I think if I click this one, it becomes, oh, no, okay. Let's try that. Okay, try that. Oh, it's still getting, okay. So this is only 5 minutes and Judy did a really good job. She started out, talking about how you can request ordinances, you can compare people, you can add relatives, and you can disconnect from these people in family search. That's kind of her last thing. And so she went through it really well. I'm just going to quickly just move over here and pause this. So she explains how you can compare the person from family search, and then you can add relatives from family search to ancestry, but also we can add people from ancestry over to family search. And so then she goes up and she clicks on the icon and she talks about requesting ordinances and watching once you have synced the person. But let me go back just a little bit. There was one step that this, can you hear and see this okay? Is that coming through when I click that? Um, um,
I see it fine. I'm not sure I heard. Am I supposed to hear Judy's voice?
yeah, I may have not have clicked the screen sharing that says to make sure when I'm sharing the screen that I have chosen to have the thing. So I won't play the video, but so she talks about, first of all, syncing it, and then she goes on to exchanging information between the two, and then she goes into adding the relatives. And then she then talks about being able to see the different records and syncing them. So I thought, let's go ahead and I'm going to share a different screen. We'll go into Emanuela's and look at her tree and just do what they had done. And then as your questions come up, I'm trying to do a new share. Okay, screen 2. To try and do what she did. And so this is Emanuela's distant relative on Family Search. It's a second wife of her husband's aunt. Okay, and so first of all,
Husband.
yeah. So when you click on the tree, it comes up with some options. One of the important things I have had people say is that because the Ancestry.com does a better searching for duplicates than Family Search, this is kind of a place that you need to learn to stop and take a look, because often you'll find duplicates this way, and then you actually need to go in and resolve them before you go forward. And so this Birdie C. Heminger and this Bert Heminger are actually the same person. And the two have been created from 2 different records. I'm getting some background. Oh, we have Margie Holmes. Welcome.
Yes.
We're glad to have you join us. So Margie,
Thank you.
did you have any questions that before we start, or do you just want to bring them up as we go along?
Yeah, I'm just really interested in learning how to more easily get information from records I find on Ancestry into Family Search.
Oh, wonderful.
So I assume that's what you're doing.
Okay, it is. And so tell us, how did you find out about the class? Did you get the email last night, or is it the newsletter, or yeah.
We have a group me site for Alpine First Ward Relief Society.
And it was on there.
Marla Rogers.
Yes. Oh, Marla.
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
good news.
She's the one that taught me.
Okay, so Margie, I'm going to go ahead and mute you until if you have a question, if you'll just press your space bar and speak up. Would that be okay? It just helps with the background noise.
Sure.
Okay. Actually, it looks like I need up there. I'm asking you to there it is. Now she's muted. Okay.
You've got
Yeah.
2 other people that need to mute themselves as well. So
Oh.
everybody mute and hold the space bar down when they want to unmute.
Okay. So Emanuela, I guess we need you to just click your mute button. Okay. And oh, that's better. Okay. So if you have questions, just hold your space bar down and speak right up, and don't hesitate to ask questions, because as we go along, each of you are seeing the screen for the first time, and you're not processing it maybe as fast as I am, and you may need to, or you have other questions from your experiences that other people have. So please ask questions. So anyway, we're back to this. As I said, many people say they have found that the search engine finds duplicates better when they are syncing from Ancestry and Family Search than searching in Ancestry. And I have found the same experience. And so this person, you can see they have it as Bert, and they kind of have him in Kansas, which is where he died. But this one up here, it has a different birthday. Can you see it's in Jacksontown, Ohio? He actually was born in Jackson, Ohio. And so this record is most likely, it could be him as a child, And then this one down here is most likely him as a spouse. Because it has him, it has his death date and where he died, which is legitimate. So the question comes up, well, what do I do now? Which one of them do I sync? And if I sync with one or the other, is it going to cause problems if I pick one? So the suggestion that she recommended in the video is that most people find it's just advantageous to just go into Family Search and clean this up before you go ahead and sync them, okay? So the next step is when we click on this, you actually brings up a comparison window, and I'm hoping you're all able to see this. Let me see if I can make that a little larger. Yeah. Oh, I can. Look at me. I'm good. Okay. And I actually, let me do the F11, see if that well, yeah, there we go. Okay. So as we're comparing these two, it allows you to scroll down. And so we're going to just see if my supposition is correct. So here we have, here is Bert, here is Bert, here is a wife, a spouse, Lena. And over here, this is Lena again. And so the bottom one actually is from that marriage. Let's go up and take a look at the first one, and we'll click on that. And as we go down, this is actually a different wife. He had a prior wife, and it was a late October, late in his life marriage. And so this is actually his parents and then him with his first wife. And so that's what I would recommend you do is go ahead and up here at the top, you can see here is their Family Search ID number. And I would just take that into Family Search and I would just go ahead and merge them. Okay, we're not going to take time to do that. We're just going to connect to him here. All right. So as we're looking at him, we now will have the little green, let's actually just go into his facts instead of his hints. You have up here this little check because it says Emmanuel has been doing a good job of getting people to the temple, right? And so, so this says that all of his ordinances are completed, okay? If it hadn't been checked, you actually could click on here and we can go into Family Search and we actually can reserve the ordinances right here from Ancestry.com. And this is really a beneficial thing because it allows you to keep your flow of research and you say, oh yeah, I'm going to reserve this. And so this always brings up the question, should I reserve them now or wait till I finished all of my research and then reserve them? Okay, and very often I have found that if this is an important person to me, by the time I finish the research, somebody else has reserved the person. And so at this point, I'm always asking the question, if I needed to reserve them, I'm always having to say, okay, Marilyn, how important is this temple work to you? Is this something you want to reserve? But also you have the option of going ahead and sharing it with the temple now, and then go ahead and finish your research or whatever you're doing. Okay, I am not seeing the back button. Okay, let me escape this. Okay, let me do my F11. Oops. Okay, then we need to go back to Ancestry. Here we go. Can you still can see my screen? Is that okay? All right. So here we are. So that's the first thing that you can do with sharing information. The second thing on the screen is to compare the two people on Family Search. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do my, let's see. So here, this is putting them both side by side. And you can go ahead and you can check the information that one would have or the other. and that. And so if we click on something, it's going to bring the information over. So this Hoytsville, Jacksontown actually comes from his World War II draft registration. Okay. And so that's really a helpful piece of information. It wasn't in Find a Grave. It wasn't in his death index, but that's his birthplace. And so I can bring that into Family Search. And then over here, I'm looking and I'm saying, this isn't complete. So let me just quickly mention the standards of places. The standard, of course, is a town, a county, a state, and then, you know, the United States. So it's in that order. Ancestry.com uses USA rather than using United States. So when I'm working in Ancestry.com, I always try to create a standard as I'm going along, because I find then it saves me time from having to go back to Family Search and make that a place that's recognized. And the same with the date. This has the 7th of August. And so I click that and that'll bring it over. So by doing this in Ancestry, while I'm researching, I've actually saved myself time from having to have that little exclamation point in Family Search that says, oh, you need to standardize the place and you need to standardize the date. And so that's just a little tip that I have for you. So then,
Marilyn,
yeah.
since you brought up, that was actually one of the points I'd written down. So you've
Yeah.
answered 90% of my question. I just wanted to double check something.
Yeah.
Family Search has certain standardized formats. They want to see places,
Yeah.
dates. And what you're saying is, if you simply make your Ancestry those, then you won't have a problem if you send something back to Family Search and have Family Search compare and complain about it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
But I guess my question would be, does Ancestry on their side ever that you use United States instead of USA? They don't have a problem with that.
No,
They don't have a problem with that.
they really don't. The computer search engines do exactly the same thing, and the family trees, you know, they have their little thing in that. And so it is more important to follow Family Search's standard than it is to worry about the Ancestry.com standard. Okay.
And then the other thing, now I realize that the most important, I mean, I'll talk a little more about this later, but I don't want to too many questions now. I'll say most of them at the end, but kind of close to, there's really 3 levels of getting information from one place to the other, either from Family Search to Ancestry or vice versa. The most important is all the factual information, dates, places, all those kinds of things.
Right.
Second, also, not maybe not quite as important, but almost, is about a person is, okay, what are your sources? Now, I'm not sure, maybe just if there's any way to have, let's say you got somebody with a bunch of sources and you want the person to go over to Family Search who isn't there yet. I mean, you got to put them there for the first time because it's on your Ancestry.
Right.
In your Ancestry account. Can you get the sources to go over somehow, either automatically, or do you have to, like, in Family Search, sort of establish every source from scratch as though you hadn't already done it in Ancestry?
John, I've said this before, but I love how your brain thinks. And so that was actually what I would like to spend most of our time talking about, is that exact question, okay? Let me go on and we'll get to those questions. So then the next thing we have here is we have Ottawa. Over here it says United States of America. So I know this is going to come from Find a Grave, because this is the standard in Find a Grave. They put United States of America. So Ancestry.com does USA, Find a Grave does United States of America, and Family Search does United States. I even have, I'll create a little sticky note on my thing, because I'm continually pasting United States over the top of USA. It's just, you know, something that I know that I'm going to do a lot of when I'm researching in Ancestry. And then the second thing I'm doing a lot of is deleting the of America from all of the Find a Grave sources that I'm bringing over. And And again, in Family Search, if we were to go over to that one, you would see there would be a red exclamation part saying, please standardize this. So let me just quickly talk a little bit about standardization. The purpose of standardization is so the computer can search and find records for the place that the person is. Sometimes we get hung up and we're frustrated because we can't find the place that is the same place as the Family Search Standard. And so it's okay to just standardize a place to Franklin County, but leave, say, Ottawa in there. For my husband, Richard, that does Danish research, for example, they give the farm that the people lived in or died in or whatever. And that will never become standardized because there's little teeny farms, but leave that in the place name and then just standardize it to the city or the parish or the county or whatever. And then that little red exclamation point goes away. If you want me to talk about that some more, we can come back to that, but let's go on, okay? So right now we've standardized, they have pulled the burial date just from the year. That's good. You know, you filled in the blank. It might be worthwhile. Some of the records may have more information. You can fill it in later.
Leaving county in there is not standardized.
Leaving the county in there.
County should not show.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Richard. Richard, we've got to get him a mic and a camera on his computer. So in here, this is another problem with bringing information over from Find a Grave, is this is a standard for Find a Grave is county. And so that's what I'm always doing when I'm bringing information over from, see, I brought over county, so maybe I should just leave it as is, but I should have taken county out of it before I synced it over, okay? So this one is probably, if we just deleted the of America and then brought it over this way would be more standard, and then taking out the county here and bringing it over, then it would become standardized. Okay, but we're just going to do that for right now. Okay, so then we're here in marriages. So this is always, again, similar to when I said this helps me to see duplicates that I would not have seen by syncing people from Ancestry back and forth. I rarely go in and look at all the marriages, and so sometimes at this point I will see like 4 marriages over here on Family Search. And is what this does is it helps me to realize I need to just go in and clean them up. Okay, some of the marriages will actually not be marriages, is what they really are, is that they are license dates. Sometimes they're bond dates or things like that. And so if you have say some incomplete places, is what has happened is they brought in the marriage from a lot of different sources, and it just helps to go in and clean it up. So if there's a conflict, what if you have a license date, but you also have a marriage date? Which one do I go with? And this is what you need to understand, is that the marriage date is preferable over the license. But if you don't have a marriage date, then start with the license. Not always were licenses returned. I just was showing you how I could bring this over here. Because these two didn't match up, if I bring this over, I have the complete place, whereas this one was just Kansas. And so I decided to bring that over. And then I will go back in actually and delete this from Ancestry.com. So then the next thing is it tells me that I have additional spouses in here that are not connected to Family Search. Yahoo! I get to add a person to Family Search, and I can even reserve her name. And so this gives me a clue. But from this screen right here, I can't bring her over. I have to move on, and that's kind of a hard thing. But that's good right here to pause for a second and just kind of make a mental note. Okay, this is the next step. This is my to-do list. Now we have the sources. These sources are in Family Search. These sources are in Ancestry.com. Okay, so we're starting at the top. Similar to the marriage, the Find a Graves didn't match up. And this has become, in my mind, a real frustration. I have gone in and seen a person with 5 different Find a Graves in Family Search as a source. So take a moment and really look at all of the things. The same thing, sometimes the censuses don't line up, but sometimes they do. So I will not bring my Find a Grave over because it's already over here, okay? And I could go into a long discussion why that is and how I send little letters to Family Search computer guys saying you got to fix this, but it's not going to be that entertaining. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the Social Security Death Index. So let me explain something. Social Security, there is the original application for Social Security. And then the next thing is they kind of put them into computers. And as they're sending out payments and things like that, then those the computer record kept track of the extra spouses, it kept track of where they married and where they died. And those became 2 different indexes. And so looking over here on Ancestries, you can see here is this Social Security index, and you're saying, well, is this the same thing as this one? They may be 2 different things. So one could be the index that was made off of when they died, and it won't have the extra marriages and the extra names, but it may do. So I go ahead and I actually keep both of them. If there are 3 of them, then I know I don't have to bring all 3 of them over. I'll just go in and check which ones I want to bring over or don't. I think these 2 are actually 2 different records, okay, because this says Death Master File and Database. But this one says Death Master File, so these are the same. Okay, but it's just something to be aware of, that if you have a Social Security Death Index, don't take time to look at both of them if there is more than one that comes up. Okay, so then the next, yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
So you just recognize that these, in fact, are really the same original.
They're the same records. They're the same.
I'm assuming, and I
Yeah.
can see this being a
Yeah.
problem. The reason the computer didn't recognize being the same is that they are the same. The exact way citation is formulated. You know, where they put the.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's just enough differences in how Ancestry.
Yeah.
Listed it that it's going to think they're different. Is that the case?
It is. And I love Family Search. I can go in and rename Family Search, and so I could even go in, and if, let's say, they had 2 Social Security Death Indexes, I could go in and say Bert Hemaker Social Security Death Index, original image, or something like that, you know, or something like that. So so then I'm able to identify which are duplicates and which aren't.
And then the last related, just to continue. In each case, let's take the case on the left where these was for this Family Search. I mean, I know you can edit it. When a person attaches a source to say how they knew that information was true, the format of the exact citation that wasn't typed in by the person. It just kind of Family Search's computers added that formatting or the information. They did that, and then on the Ancestry side, the same thing happened. Ancestry's computer, when they attached it, the computer defaulted to that way of listing it. So computer systems use a little different way of doing it. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's the reason even though they don't recognize each other, eventually they will. So let's say we didn't have the Social Security Death Index here. The moment I click on this and bring it into Family Search, then Family Search's computers will go, oh, we have something that looks just like that, and then it will become up as a hint. And then all at once you are bringing in Family Search's version of the Social Security Index, and it's exactly the same record. So you're just creating a duplicate. And so actually I have it over here. Okay, let's go in. And so our problem with Ancestry's version of the Social Security Death Index is that there is a paywall for people who don't have a membership to Family Search. Okay, so actually let's do that. Let's actually bring it over. Let me go ahead and finish up these and then we'll go back and look. So then the censuses, they often don't match up again because of what John said, because they're just named enough different that they may not recognize each other. And so you'll bring that over, the draft registration, the census, Iowa birth records, World War II. And so now that I brought these over, Family Search's search engines will actually start trying to identify those sources. So we're going to go on to his main page, and you can see up here, there's no research help, there's no recommended sources, but because this is active and that their computer will start popping up with those exactly the same records. Oh, look here, it's recognized the duplicate here too. Okay, so then is what happens. Okay, we're in Family Search right now. When we go into these sources, over here, this little tree means this is a Family Search source, and this one says this is an Ancestry.com, or that this is coming from a source outside of Family Search. Okay, and so if a person wanted to look at the Kansas City and county census records, Emanuela, we were just talking about a city census. And look at this. She's over there going, yes, yes. I found a city census, a county census, and there we have one in your family. Okay, so when people click on this and they want to go see it, they have a paywall they've got to go through. And so sometimes I will go back, it depends upon if I'm working in there, is what else I will actually go back and I will let's see, do we know which census this is? Does it tell us? No, it doesn't. I would put a date in here to sort the sources. So I can't do that because I should have been there. But it's frustrating for people because they want to see these sources, but then they have to go to Ancestry. Okay.
Marilyn, that's a very good point. And I just wanted to, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I just want to be real clear
Yeah.
that I've got this right. And I
Right.
think, so what I think you've just explained is, and I need to clarify this, is my understanding correct?
Right.
So let's say you've got a record that both Ancestry and Family has. You know, they both have they
Right.
both within their, okay. So let's say Ancestry's record is for a certain census and Family Search has the same thing. Now, when you send the source over from Ancestry to Family Search, if the Family Search computer, hopefully it does,
Right.
hey,
Yeah.
that's a record that we already have here, they will
Yeah.
change the pointer to no longer point to Ancestry's paid link, but they'll use Family Search's own free link. But if they either don't have the record, I mean, Family Search
Yeah.
doesn't have everything Ancestry has, vice versa,
Right.
or for some reason the computer
They didn't recognize
fails
it.
to recognize they're the same, then it'll just keep the Ancestry link there. Is that right?
No, so what's happened is you'll end up with two 1940 censuses, and one will have a world and one will have a little tree by it. And you can choose to leave them there. It's not hurting anybody if they have 150 sources. Or you could choose to delete it if you want to clean up your sources and only have two, say, 1940 censuses. It's just up to you, okay? And And then, but what happens is because Family Search sees this source, then I bet if Emanuela comes back tomorrow, all at once there'll be all of these source suggestions that are going to pop up here. And then you can go in and choose to add those sources. They're using the hint system. Ancestry.com's hints are much faster, much more accurate, much quicker to add. And so that is one of the reasons that it's really, really valuable to use Ancestry.com, okay? So as we're talking about sources, I actually need to move into another one of Emanuela's people. Okay, let's go to Lena. Okay, this is the other wife. Okay, so these sources right in here will come over from Family Search when you bring a person over, and these can sync. But there are some sources down here that cannot be brought over through the little system that we did. I can even, we can go up here, we can click on Lena, we can compare them. And so there were some newspapers in there, okay? And so here it's coming up. And so we're going through the people and their information. Okay, and we keep going down. Oh, here's the marriages. And then here's all the stuff from Family Search. And see how it's linking up Find a Grave and Social Security. And we keep going down. Here's a second Find a Grave. Okay. And we keep going down and going down. Oh, wait, I'm lying. Okay. I'm sorry. It does have the newspapers here, but sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to bring those newspapers over. But sometimes you need to check and see if that information is appearing in this list. Previously, newspapers haven't. Also, I'm sorry, I don't want to get you dizzy, but up here, if there had been photos or a Bible record or something that you had brought in from another tree, it would appear up here in the gallery. And things in the gallery also don't sync and come over, okay? They are just there. And so those galleries are things that you need to go into and you need to bring over in a different way. And so I was going to see if I had, let me look at Robert, if he has anything from the gallery. I don't see anything from the gallery. I should have planned ahead. But anyway, when you go into the gallery and you've got, say, a Bible record from another person, is what you need to use is what's called Record Seek. And so when you click on Record Seek, anything that, I'm going to just click on this so you can see what it looks like. And it's not popping up. Let me try this again. Okay, it's not popping up. Okay, let me go in here and type in Record Seek is a little app, okay? And it's been around forever. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on the extension so you can see what it looks like. You can go into their website. Here it is. And so you just grab one of these if you're in Chrome, and you just take this and you just drag it up, or you can even put it in here in your bookmarks if you like a bookmark right there. And then or you can take and you can put it up here and here. And if you don't want it, you can take it off, you can unpin it, you can remove it since it's already there. And so what it does is it takes and it will pop up with this little window. And you say, oh yeah, I would like to add this source of Family Search. And then it would go ahead and it will type in whatever you are doing. So if it was an obituary, it would say obituary, and you can put your information in, and then you say next, and then you would add in the person's number, and then you would say next. Okay. this wasn't a very good example of that, but that is the other way that you can bring sources over from Family Search into Ancestry.com. Okay.
Marilyn,
Yeah.
you try going to a source. You're just
Okay.
on the person's page. So
Okay.
try going to a source and see if that.
Okay, that would be a good example. Thank you, Marla. It's good to have other people there. Okay, so let's say here's a good marriage record. Okay, we're going to view this. We're going to open this up. Okay, we're going to go in and view this record, and we say, oh, yay, this is a record that I want to bring over into Family Search. And we could do it from the view page. The other advantage to this one is that it doesn't have the paywall that we had talked about before. So let's explain. A lot of the images are available in Ancestry that are not available in Family Search. And this is becoming more and more so. And marriage records are one of the things that Ancestry has gone in and has paid money to be able to have the right to have the images. And so Family Search may even have the film. They may even have the digitized film, but they don't have the right to show the images online. Okay. And so let's try doing this with Family Search on this one. Okay. I'm going to click, just a minute, let me go back, is what I would do with this one if there was an image. I would first of all highlight this information, okay? Highlight this information, and then I'm just going to copy it, okay? And then I would go to the image. View. Okay, and then I would click on Record Seek. And then this thing pops up, okay? So then it has Missouri marriages, it has where the image is, where the record is found, and then I could just go ahead and paste this in here. If I downloaded the image, I would be able to even go back into Family Search and upload that. And so then I go to Next, and then you put in the PID. So I'm gonna
I'm not seeing any of that other stuff.
Oh, really? Okay.
All I see is
Excuse
the
me, what does
images.
PID mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's personal ID. So I should be, it's the old term. I should be saying, FSID. They changed the terminology. Okay, here we go. So this is the little window that has popped up. Okay, let me go back. Okay. So, let's see, let's go back. Here we go. Okay, so when I clicked on, let me go back one more. So when I clicked on that little icon, this is what popped up, is this little image, okay? And so then I said, oh yeah, I want to add this source to Family Search. So you click there. And then it adds the title of the source. It adds, the URL. It says, what it is. And then in here, what I had highlighted, this Claude, all of that has already been pasted in. Okay. And then the next thing down here, it says, do you want this in your source box? And let's say I say, it'll automatically put it in the unorganized, but let's say I'm working on my wall family, I could put it in my wall family. And then I could add this source if, let's say it's a probate record. I could add this to all the members of the wall family, okay? So then I'm gonna keep it in the unorganized home. You go to the next page. Just a minute. Okay, so then I would find the PID. So I'm going to go back, or not the PID, the FSID. Okay, let's say, let me copy that. Okay, and then I'll come back to your thing, and then I would just paste that in there. And then you do next, and now it is actually putting this source into that person's source box. It's adding it to Bert. And then it has the option up here. You can say, I'm going to attach this source to his name. I think it had his birthday. It doesn't have his burial, but his gender, it says he's a male. So I'll add that to all of those places. Okay. And then you could even type in here, this is his second marriage. Okay. So you can even put notes in there, and then you can create it and you can attach it. I am going to go to the next page and we'll clean this up later, but then it can add it to another person. So then I can say, oh, this isn't just a marriage for him, this is also his wife, and then I can put her number in there, and then we can just keep going around, and I can add the source to as many people as I wanted. Okay. And so especially since Ancestry.com, oh, let's see, screen sharing stopped because I closed that. Okay. Let me go back to Ancestry.com. I can add that to as many people as I need to. And Ancestry has really put a lot of money into probate records and these images from marriage records. And so that is really valuable. Okay. So
Marilyn, one
You
thing
lost-
I didn't follow
right.
is
Okay.
how did you, when you went into Records Seek, how did it find that record? Did you put
Okay.
in some information?
Let me share this screen again. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so whatever record I have on the screen, when I click Record Seek, then it's just going to pick that one. Okay. If I was in an obituary, then whatever I am. So I love this for obituaries because I can highlight the obituary and it'll create a source from obituary, and then I can add it to Ancestry or Family Search, either one. This Record Seek, I have to laugh. I was teaching a class on probate records, and this lady, every time she'd see me, she says, that was the best class. I love that class. I said, really? I said, what was your favorite part of the class? And she says, Record Seek. And I thought, okay, all right, Record Seek. She says, I use that every single time I'm doing family history. That has just become such an important tool for me to use. And it really is an incredibly helpful tool. So let me tell you just quickly, another place that I use Record Seek is often when I go into the library catalog, and I'm pulling up images and I'm looking at images. Sometimes it doesn't have a way for me to save things from the catalog to the people in my tree. And so again, right within Family Search, I'll use Record Seek to save a source to the tree. Okay. So, so it's just a wonderful little tool to just add, let me say, we have it on all the computers in the Family History Library. You'll look up there, and I have this little icon at the top, but at the Family History Center, we actually have, it's a bookmark that's right up here that you should be able to click on to use to add it there, okay? All right, so we've talked about how to add sources, but then I wanted to just quickly go into how to add people. And so we need to go into Lena again, and Lena's second husband. Okay, we are in John, or let's see, oh, Bert. So Bert had a first wife, okay, and Stella. Okay, so here's Stella, and remember how when we were going through it told us, we says there's Stella and she's not in Family Search. And so this is how we would add her to Family Search. We're in here, and I would hopefully have added all my hints and gone through, but I will just click on there, and she comes up, and so, oh, she is in there. Okay, this person's, oh, she's already connected to Lena. Oh, she's not there. Oh, so, whoops, she's not, you're right. She's not there, so cancel. Let me start over again. Stella is not Lena. So it brought up the first wife. So you got to watch that. Don't do what I did. But down here it says add to Family Search. And so then it'll say, you want to add it to family search. Is this the spouse? If you're adding children and there's 2 mothers, it'll ask you which mother you want or which father you want. And then you're able to add those children over to family search. Okay. Now, then there's a third option for adding people to between the 2 trees. Okay, this is taking too long. But it will bring over all the sources when it's done. And I'm going to cancel just because it's taking too long. There is a third thing. If you'll notice, when, okay. Oh, there, she's been added. It just froze it. Okay, let me. When you go into a person that is an end of the line, okay, it should bring up an option when we first click to add more generations. Right now it's trying to sync them. Okay, let me think how to get back to where I want to be. Let me try here. Okay. And so you can add, here it is. You can add relatives from family search here. But it also will, if it's an end of the line person, it will be able to add 4 generations. And this is just a way to rapidly build a tree in Ancestry.com, is to add those 4 generations. When you click down here, it'll have another one that'll say, you want to add 4 generations, and you click that, and then you build the tree. So this last option that says disconnect person from family search. So what happens is, we had the problem that we had 2 Berts, and let's say I went into family search and I merged the 2 Berts that are the duplicates, okay? But let's say the number that is synced to the Ancestry one is the one that is merged in, and their number is deleted for the search. In family search, they don't really delete people, they just merge them in, and then they aren't, they're harder to find. So then what would happen in Ancestry.com when I come back, all at once that Bert wouldn't be there, or it wouldn't sync, or there would be an error message. And so that's why there is this option at the bottom. If you disconnected him from the deleted person and then you resync, then the other person will come up, and then you'll be able to have the 2 that are synced together, okay? All right, so we're almost towards the end. John, tell me, what were your questions?
I'll tell you one of his comments. He said, Maryland is a gold mine.
Oh, I feel that way about all of you too.
Well, you know, I had a lot of questions, but your presentation was so good that it answered many of them, so I don't have to ask them. Like the one about what happens if the person is merged away, and you just explained what happens.
Yeah,
I guess my question is twofold. Is this meeting has a
John, do you want to unmute, because with the space bar you kind of fade in and out, so.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Okay. What I was going to say is, as far as this Zoom meeting, I know you tried an hour. As far as Zoom concerned, not a part of the people. As far as Zoom, is this going to cut off any time, or if we go?
No. Yeah, we can go over. We can stay until Richard gets so hungry that he starts knocking on my door and says.
Here's my suggestion. I have a few questions. Now, they're not about particular people. I'm not going to bring up. They're general, but because there's a number of them, I don't. So, if people want to hang around to hear my questions to see if they're relevant to them, they're fine.
Yeah.
If anyone else has questions first, I'd rather they ask it so that they can either stay or stick around, because I might need 5 minutes with you. It can be with other people listening or without. I don't care, but they may want to move on.
The end.
They I'm just saying, put me at the end.
And then the other thing is Marilyn does consulting and for free. Yeah, I don't even charge you my $600 retainer. And I am just delighted if people send me a question. I say, let's get on Zoom and let me see your screen. Let's see what we can work through this and that. Emanuela and I have a long-term relationship that we're doing this, huh, Emanuela? Okay, all right. So what John just said is he says, are there other questions that other people have that they would like to bring up first? And even, do you have a screen you would like to share and say, Marilyn, I can't figure out how to fix this, and Marilyn will do her best to help you. Anything? Marla, Margie, Doug?
I do have a question about record seek again. Can you
Okay.
just tell me one more time,
Okay.
what are the circumstances where you would use that? You're trying to, you got the record on Ancestry,
Right.
but you, for some reason, can't get it over to Family Search, and you use
Right.
it then?
Yeah, that's right. There's, yeah, let's go into, have we got Bert? Okay, let's go into Lena. Okay. So Lena, we did a newspaper search, and let's say I'm actually not even here. Let's say I'm actually in newspapers.com. So let me tell you, newspaper.com is free subscription available at the Family History Center. Okay, and so, but let's say I'm here and I've got this and I say, I really want to oh, can you see it? Okay, I want to bring this newspaper clipping into Family Search. And so then I just click on that. If I had some text, I would highlight it, but watch what happens. I'm gonna, hopefully, okay, I may have to share my screen, go to the next screen that was brought up.
Marilyn,
Yeah?
down at the bottom, it says show article text. Would that help?
Let me see. Let me go back. Let me go. Show article text. Oh, OCR. Let me. I adore you. Hey, that is really cool. See, so we all help each other. So I am. Just a minute. I'm trying to bring up Record Seek. So now I have to share this screen again. New share. I'm clicking on that, and then I'm
Marilyn,
going.
I think there's a Zoom issue that may make it easier.
Yeah.
And I'm 95% sure I'm right. I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
Instead of sharing the application, like
Okay.
Share Family Search or whatever, or the browser, say
Okay.
desktop. That means everything you're looking at, whatever whatever you see, they're going to see, and you don't have to keep sharing individual applications. If you
Okay.
desktop, try that and see if that works. I hope I'm right.
Okay. So I'm looking. I see screen one, and I see the other screen is my screen 2, whiteboard. So I was sharing screen 1, but it okay. So I'm sharing screen 1. Does that show you Record Seek?
Yes.
Oh, John, I love how your brain works. Did I say that already? Okay. So can you see how it has pasted the title up at the top of this newspaper clipping? And so then I could take time right here and I would type newspaper article. And then I would look down, I think it's the Wellsville, we could even move it to the side. I'll click Wellsville Globe. Oh, there it is, just a newspaper article. So let's talk about naming names up here. When you are creating a title for a source, you want who, what, when, and where. So the who is the people. what it is actually this family visit is okay, but I should put the newspaper article maybe before it so it makes more sense. Okay, newspaper article, family visit with Codnina. So I've got who and I got what, a newspaper, and then you want when, and so I'll do the 25th of January, 1923, and then then you want where. And so the where could be the Wellsville, Kansas, but the where can also be Wellsville, Globe. And so people say, well, what order do I want to put those in? I know this is a question John's asking himself. Well, what order do we want these to sort in, or what? So if I have a bunch of newspaper articles, I would actually move this date to the first so that they are sorting in order. So I would pick this up and I would put it over there, and then so it sorts properly, you know, we would move our 1923 over there, and we'd move our 25th of January behind it. And then that would sort that source in that order, okay? The important thing is who it is. Let's say this is a child, then I would put the child first, so that then all the articles about the child sort first. If the important thing is that it's a marriage record, then I would put marriage first. And so however you name it is okay. Nobody's going to kick you out of Family Search just because you didn't name something right, okay? The important thing is the information that you are putting in here alerts a person to what they are looking at, okay? So that's your little lecture on naming sources. So then the next part, it says, where is it found? And so this is different. This is newspaper.com. This is not Ancestry anymore. Okay, and then it goes to the source box, and we talked about, you know, which source box do you want it in? And then the next thing it's going to move it over to is the next page is who is the person that you want it to attach to. And so this is not, so is what I'm going to do is then I go back into Family Search, and this is about, not about Bert, but this is about Lena. So if you click on that little number and then you click on copy ID, then where did my record seek? There it goes. Then I can paste that ID in there. Okay, and then next. And so then the next one is, what is this? This is a newspaper discussing residents. Okay.
Carolyn,
Yeah.
one thing I've noticed is that when I go back to Family Search,
Yeah.
and try to get back to Record Seek, it's
Right.
underneath my Chrome little, you know, two little records underneath my Chrome picture.
Okay. So when you go back to, just a minute, let's close this. Okay. So when you go back to Family Search, is that what you said?
Yeah, I've had trouble, you know, at first I had trouble when I go to find the number.
Yeah.
How do I get back to the record seek?
Yeah.
And I found that it's under my browser, you know, it'll show that there are folders in my browser. So I just hover over the browser thing.
Okay.
At the two, and then that's how I get back to it.
And then you get back into Record Seek.
Right.
Okay. So this source that we just added to Lena, when we click on it, as we go down here, you can see here's the newspaper, the Globe, but this is the one that we just added. Should be a little bit, here it is, this one. Can you see how different that looks than the others? The other thing is if I go into the sources and then I click on, let me click on, oh, here. Let's click on add a source, and then the source box let's say I'm in another person, then that will be the top source. It's been actually added it to the source box. Okay, so here it is right here. So let's say this actually mentions her brother came in town for Christmas, and it mentions her parents, and I say, wow, I want to add this to all of those other people. Then is what I can do is I can go back to Lena and I can bring up all those people, and then I can add this article to all the people that are named in that newspaper clipping. And so it's just a wonderful little feature that's available.
Okay, a question I have for you.
Yeah.
When you did the marriage license, did you bring over the image as well?
So that was a good question. And I had wondered about that too, because the source is actually, let's see, it isn't her source, is it? It was the marriage. Who was the marriage that we brought over?
I think it was Bert and Stella.
Okay, Bert and Stella. Okay, so Lena, here's Bert. Okay, we'll go into Bert. And then we're going to go into Stella.
Oh, yes. It was the Lena, Miss Lena Gish.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So Lena.
Was she a Gish before?
No, she wasn't. Lena Gish is married Lena's brother. Okay, so that, if we put that in there, we got to clean it up. Okay.
Is that Claude then?
So it's actually Claude. Yeah. So let's see. Is the marriage?
Well, you need to get to Lena Gish.
Oh, we have to get to Lena Gish? Okay. All right. So we'll go to Claude, and then this is his wife. Okay. So so let's talk about marriage sources and marriages. So but it isn't. It wouldn't be Lena Gish. Emanuela, unmute yourself. We need your input here.
Okay. Maybe it was the Fern Gish.
Okay.
Gish.
So.
But I thought you put it under his sources.
Okay. It's Elva. Is the Elva Gish.
Elva Gish. Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. So it's this. Okay. Just a minute. We've got Elva Gish. Okay. And she married Claude. So would the marriage have been in Elva's sources?
Should be.
Okay. All right. So then they're actually popping up here. So we'll go into sources. Okay. So one of the problems in Family Search is they have discussed marriage records and where they belong. And I don't see it in here.
Right there.
Here it is. Okay. So here we're going to click on this. Okay, so if I didn't have an Ancestry.com account, the question is, would this, sometimes it's on another website, sometimes it will allow viewing of sources like this.
So Record C did not bring the image in, it just the link to get to the image.
Right. So the safest thing to do would be to download this image, and then you can upload it. So you could go ahead and do that a couple of ways. You could take a screen snip. So we could snip it and then save it. You know, and so that's just one of the ways. And then load it back up. So when we go back in here, it says, when we go into edit, it says, do you want to upload an image, add an image? And so then we would replace that web page with a memory. So that's one place.
Marilyn, on the same line, just a question.
Yeah.
I'm thinking what happened here, but I need you to verify this or not. When you go to the link, I mean, you said some. Well, my guess is if you go to a link on Ancestry, and you're not currently logged into an Ancestry, you know, you're not logged in on your browser,
right?
It will ask you to log in, and then once you log in, you'll see it.
Right.
If you don't have an account, then you can't log in, and you're done. So it's really just a question of, can you log in? If you're, so for example, right, I'm not asking you to do this, but if, like, if you were to close out your Ancestry, if you were to log out of Ancestry right now,
right.
You'd be
And-
able to get to it, but you would have to do the login credentials to get there. I think. Do you think that's correct?
Sometimes. And so there are a large number of accounts that when you have a viewer image number like this, Ancestry allows you to view it.
Even
it's
if you don't have an account. I mean,
sometimes. And
okay.
this what's happened is when they got the contract with the people, whoever they purchased that with, they have the right to set the limits on it. Okay. And so sometimes what happens is Ancestry owns the index, but they don't own the rights to the image. And so sometimes by not going through the Ancestry index, you're able to access images. But sometimes Ancestry does own the image, and it kind of depends. The same thing with Fold 3, which is owned by Ancestry, which is they're trying to digitize the National Archive, and they're putting all of those images up there. The same thing, if a person gets an image of a document, sometimes you can go in and you can see those documents for free if somebody has shared them from another site. But if you try to go in through their index, link, then it won't let you in. It's kind of a back and forth thing. So real quickly, I was just going to mention also, that's a marriage record. And so when we go into this, is it this marriage? Okay, this marriage. Okay, this is really the place that should have been. There is a place here for the sources. Okay, so here is a marriage record. But sometimes it just adds it in the person page, and it'll only add it to one person. Sometimes it'll only add it to Clyde, and it wouldn't have added it to Elva Fern. And so it's just good to check that to make sure that it's there. And if it isn't, then you would be able to click here on add a source and then go into the source box, and then you would be able to add it where sources. The reason for this, and John is, I'm sure, curious about this, but the computer engineers say there are two types of relationships. There is a marriage relationship, and then there's a parent to child relationship. And those they have in their heads in two different boxes. And so therefore, in their heads, the sources and the information and these relationships, see this little pencil, is just for the marriage. Whereas to change the relationship of a child is a totally different relationship. And so they say these sources pertain to the person, and they don't pertain to the marriage. So there's a big argument at Family Search right now. People really want to just have the marriage records added to both people in their sources. So, okay, all right. I think, any other questions? Did that answer, Doug, for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. A small question and a long answer. Okay, all right. So John, if you guys want to hang on, and John has another question, we could go ahead and do that.
Okay. Well, it's really just like as quick as I can a rundown of where I'm at. It's not about particular people, but they're general questions, but I think they're important. And I think your presentation has answered 90% of them. So basically, a couple years back, when I wanted to really get into, getting things going again on family tree and everything, I was hearing the horror stories of my wife and the fact that people on Family Search change things and get it wrong, and that's never going to stop. That dilemma is something you're going to have to live with, and change it back and so forth. But because of that, I decided that I really should have my own tree, like somewhere on, like Roots Magic or Legacy, those kind of things, and that way, at least when it's changed wrong, I have a reference to, oh yeah, okay, now I know what I need to try to straighten out. And so I was trying to decide which program would be, best to install my PC. And then it dawned on me, Since I do like a lot about that, there's a lot to be said for doing things online.
Yeah.
I said to myself, really, I don't have to have it in a PC-based program. I could, Ancestry, I have a free account. LDS, I can make it private. Maybe make it public, but private for editing. So that's kind of an answer to my possible question. The question became to me is how easy is it or isn't it to transfer without retyping everything or copy and pasting from Ancestry.com to FamilySearch.com.
Right.
I couldn't find the answer anywhere.
Right.
Actually, and I couldn't get anyone to pick up the phone at Ancestry.com. So I went to their building here, right down the street, and I went in the lobby and said, "Look, I'd like to talk to one of your knowledgeable people just to answer a few. In 5 minutes you can answer all my what can and can't be." So they got somebody to come down like a salesperson who knew. I was amazed you could be a salesperson. She knew almost nothing about it. She said, "Well, I know you can transfer between Ancestry and Family Search one way, but it doesn't work the other way. And I know which way it works." Okay, this is coming from the lot. So I just set that aside. And then my second part, and I haven't got to the question yet, is I was at it could have been Roots Tech, but I think it was the BYU Family History Conference a year and a half ago, and one of the Family Search guy, he is like the big kahuna of Family Search. He's top organizationally, whoever he is. I forgot his name. You might know his name. And so I said, here's my dilemma. I'm trying to decide. I like the idea of going online for my private tree as opposed to Magic, one of those others, but I need to know which one plays nicest with Family Search as far as semi-automatically being able to click buttons and move information. That was my goal. Right. And I said, and there's 3 levels of, and myself, in my mind, 3 levels of importance. The number one important thing I hope is there is, can you transfer the data? Names, places, birthday. The second one, also important, but probably a notch down, it would be really nice, existed, to be able to transfer semi-automatically with clicks of mouses the sources. Okay, and then the third thing, which probably doesn't exist, but it would be really nice, is on my wish list, is if you could, transfer memories or, some of those anecdotes, the picture. Yeah. But they're not all equally important. If you can't transfer the data, you're not going to be worried about the other 2. And then he said to me, now this is the Family Search guy, I said, which of all these, I really want to know how well Ancestry did, because that's the one I was leaning toward. He says, of all the companies we deal with, Ancestry is the least cooperative with us in terms of sharing stuff. So I can't be very discouraged. So based on that information and the information, and he didn't go into more detail, and I'm sorry for taking so long, but based on that and my conversation, I thought, man, Ancestry is everything I want, but I can't share anything. And what you just shown me is a tremendous amount of sharing capability. Yeah. It's a dream come true. So I'm asking my question. You can understand my concerns. Yeah. This addresses almost all of them. I know we didn't talk about sharing pictures and stuff. That's probably not possible yet, but these people were just mistaken, or this capability of sharing is something that's only become available in recent times between Ancestry and Family Search? Because it's a dream come true for me.
This has been a long time thing. Ancestry and Family Search have a love-hate relationship. Okay. And so, for example, when I sit down with my friends at Family Search and Acquisitions, they say, we gave these pictures of these marriage licenses to Ancestry, and they said, we will index them, and then we will share with you the search engine that we created for that index, so that these marriage licenses will automatically pop up in Family Search as an option, as a link. And so we say, okay, that's the contract. It took and it's not this particular one, but this is the case. She says it took them 3 years to get Ancestry to finally give them that piece of software to be able to get that search of that index into Family Search. And so but that doesn't pertain to you. So your questions were, he was kind of ignoring them, but bringing information back and forth between the two and between the trees has existed for a long time. Last time we had talked about and Scott Proctor was here, and he said, so Marilyn, he says, is I have, entered in a whole pedigree. We had gone to the country, we'd looked up original records, we proved that the old information was bad, and somebody came in and changed it back. And I'm sure they probably have a printed pedigree on their wall, and they do not want anybody to mess with their printed pedigree, type thing. And he says, and we've gone back and forth and back and forth. And so he says, is there anything in Family Search that cannot be changed by people? And I know Catherine Grant has said the temple work, but that's not quite true, because the temple work is attached to an individual. And so if you were to remove the individual and put in a new individual, then you'd have to restore the temple work. Is that so? So actually, there is nothing in Family Search that cannot be removed or made invisible. So all of these sources can be detached. All of the memories can be detached, everything. And so your idea of I need my own tree, I need my own sources is really important. Just because you need your references.
Yeah.
So,
Marilyn,
yeah,
just maybe there's some progress in the area of Family Search and how to do things, but I had a problem this week.
Yeah.
My foremother was listed, very zealous, had put it in and listed as a male. Well, they had the source attached, or either that or I figured out which because they referenced the 1877. The census taker made an error.
Made a male out of a
Abigail a male.
Yeah.
And so she put it's on the wrong side of my tree. Abigail, or not on the space where the mother's. So how do I proceed with that one?
Yeah.
And not only that, looking at the temple work was done.
Yeah.
That person had been done.
As a male. Yeah.
The baptism confirmation, somebody else had reserved the endowment and the other things. So I contacted them and Family Search through the helps system. And I did mention, I'd like to know this because, assistant director here, help other people. They called me back, made appointments, and they called me at 3 o'clock and they walked me through it. And they said about this and have made a decision. I said, my other problem is change it, or I merge it, like make one and then merge it, then the ordinance work will come and it was done properly.
Yeah.
Done as a female. They said, what we have decided, sometimes a person can view the record the way they want and you can view your record as you want. She made me.
I've never heard of that.
That's something.
No. Yeah,
so what they had me do, she walked me through the whole steps as I'm on Family Search.
Really?
She had me disconnect relationship for a while.
Yeah.
Tree. And then we changed
the gender.
Gender.
And then I
reattached.
And then
now, supposedly,
did you merge them?
No, she didn't create a new person. What they had her do was just take that same person, children, okay, themselves as an individual, take the gender, which you can do, then add the children back in. You know what I mean? So it's the same ID that they started with, but it's now a female, not a male.
It's a little confusing to me.
But it seemed to work.
However, I got the person where I needed to, and then surprisingly enough, when I did the ordinance, the person had reserved the initiatory and the endowment. That was still reserved. However, the temple ordinance had already been done as a female at a different date. So, or they had reserved it or something. So anyhow, that one's good. But apparently the other person, and I wrote down their name, they can view it on their tree, and that person, the same ID number, is viewed as
I don't believe that.
I didn't look into that one, but anyhow, I got my person.
I think you must have misunderstood because.
No, she said that.
Marla,
Yeah, not
Marla?
Marla, it's Catherine.
Okay, what I would do there is I would merge,
Oh, I already got
and
it
then
done
I'd
because
keep
they
track of,
walked me through it.
yeah, I would merge, and then you correct it to show male, and then you send them, and then you have the new ID number, and then you send a message to the temple department
Yeah.
and say, please undo
Yeah.
this sealing because, I mean, the temp work because it's been done in error. And then and that's in your log and you follow for that. And when the temple department erases that temple work, then you go in and do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I ask you, Richard, am I making a guess here? After the person's gender has been changed from the incorrect male to the correct female, the baptism was still valid because it's not a gender specific ordinance, and the initiatory and the endowment, but no sealings as parent or to spouse, those aren't valid, or are they all invalid?
No, they're all invalid.
They're all invalid. They're all invalid.
Including the baptism. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, including the baptism is invalid. And so I have done this. The same thing as you. The census taker labeled Bart was her nickname. Her name was Bartow, and had to do the same thing. Wrote the temple department. So up here in your so you go into your questions, and when you are creating a case, contact us. Is what you'll do is you will choose temple work. Okay. Down here it says temple, and then up here in the first line of your message, you'll say this temple work was incorrectly done as for a male who is really a female. Please detach so that we can redo the work. And so the person that you are working with probably hadn't, when they're saying, we've talked about it, we've made this decision. I have run into this before, that these little wonderful missionaries that are trying to figure these things out don't have the breadth of experience to really understand what's going on. And
then, John, you had another interesting question, and I'd kind of like to address that, and probably should be another Zoom session. But I don't trust Ancestry totally. I don't trust my tree as being safe with the family history site. And as things get kablobbled, or as I kablobble it myself, I need something independent that can reach out not only to those two places, but to my heritage and if I was doing other French work, I'd need it attached to another organization. There's so much more richness outside those two groups that you really need an independent software that can reach out to all those groups. And that's why we need to maybe sometime in the future talk about these other software packages that you purchase that allows you to be more universal and more safe and more independent and in better control of your records, and to be able to view your records and to be able to keep track of your work, because on Ancestry it's real difficult to know what you've been doing. You can't find your mistakes. Similarly with Family Search, you can totally get lost and never see that individual again, or determine how to work that person's downline, or to do additional research on that person, unless you keep a detailed research log, which is not real fun to do. So sometime in the future, we should tell you about Ancestry.
I would love that. Basically comparing
or Roots Magic. And
comparing the PC applications versus Ancestry versus.
Right. You all need to know how to do that, because that is the power and that's the safety, because you're independent and you can reach out to 7 organizations and keep a file that you can control and that you can share with the world, just not with one organization.
Because I think that would be best left to that future Zoom meeting. I hope you do it like next month.
Right, and that's kind of getting into more advanced things, but that's when you really are doing the work.
I guess, can you just summarize real quickly now, and then we'll leave all the details to later.
So,
I mean, you said you
so-
don't trust Ancestry. Nobody can edit it but you. So how is your information unreliable then, since nobody can edit it but you?
So you do own your tree, and the information you put into the tree is your information, and nobody's
But
going to monitor it.
Ancestry doesn't let you reach out to MyHeritage to
Yeah,
find
so that's
more
what
important
Richard was saying.
information.
That doesn't.
I mean, my words choice is a little bad there, John.
That he doesn't
But
trust Ancestry.
but you Ancestry is trying to keep your dollars.
Yeah.
MyHeritage is trying to keep your dollars. You know, there's 7 that we can be working with and talking about here, but they're all there is a corporate interest, or beyond that, we all have different ways to view things. The church has different ways to look at things. The church is trying to form one tree, which continually messes up your tree, because it's you know, a 12-year-old kid can go in there and totally mess up your tree, or maybe I could even do it because I make mistakes too. So you really need something outside all those that makes you in control and you in charge.
So, so what Richard, let me add to this, is that by using your own database, that database has a search engine within it, the new ones, and it will search for records on Fold 3. It will search for records on the Indiana birth and death certificates. It will search for information on MyHeritage, and it will search Ancestry.com. And so it's really a very powerful tool. And then as you're bringing in all of these sources and you get these conflicts, it allows you to write up a summary of your conflicts. If I put a summary of a conflict on Ancestry.com, let me show you where I would do that. Okay, let me see. Okay, this is it. Okay, if I was to try and do that on Claude's page, it would be hidden. Okay, so there are 2 places. There's notes, which is here. This will come up, and then there's the view comments over here. Okay, and so let's say I put a summary of the conflict up there. It's disorganized, it's chaotic, and people can't really see it very well in that. Whereas when you have it in your database, you're able to search for those notes and those conflicts, and you can go back and you can see them. So anyway, but let's go ahead and let's schedule in the future. That's one of my favorite classes to teach, is a comparison of the 4 major database managers. All of them have their own little niche and their own little peculiarities that make them either wonderful or not, and people will weigh in. This is important to me, so I'll pick this one. Richard and I use 2 different database managers, and I say I take the Cadillac and he likes the truck. And so that's the 2. Okay, wow, I bet your brains are just hurting from all of this information. And Emmanuel and I are just going to have some long talks, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
About all the stuff that we've talked about. Please send your questions if you want us to cover something in this Zoom meeting that you would like us to review or go over again. I would like it. I'm going to go ahead and save. Oh, wait, just a minute. I don't see the record icon. I may not have recorded this meeting. Don't tell me. Okay, let me exit from the meeting. Stop share. Okay, knock on wood. It is recording. Okay. So I will go ahead and stop, and then I will go ahead and we will post this Zoom meeting then on our Facebook page, and then you will be able to share it with other people. So, all right. Staff meeting next Tuesday, and we'll talk to you all before then, or contact you, and then we'll get back to you, okay? All right. Have a good lunch. Thank you. Bye.